Hi American Heart, my name is Bryce Cornet. I'm from Norman, Oklahoma, and I'm a current Mazda MX-5 Cup racing driver. Getting into racing is a very interesting thing. So my parents got me into racing once they saw that I loved the die-cast race cars. I would race them around on the carpet when I was about 4 years old. Loved Jeff Gordon. But there came a time where my parents thought, why not turn this into a sport? You know, why not get him into the sport? And my parents got me my first go-kart at a local racetrack in Norman, Oklahoma when I was 6 years old. There came a time to where we wanted to move from go-karts to cars. It's kind of the stepping stone for a lot of racers. I was about 15 when we made this jump. My parents supported me in going to Canada, where I went to a racing school. In my younger days, that I remember thinking that something may be wrong. You know, I remember having fast heart rhythms when I was 10 years old and thinking that was a normal thing. And then I was starting to have very, very strenuous and scary palpitations. I was sitting in my high school math class one day, and I all of a sudden had what I felt they were definitely palpitations, but at the time I didn't know what they were. You know, being so young and not knowing what was going on, I thought I was having a heart attack. I remember raising my hand, going to the bathroom, and I remember getting on calling my mom in the bathroom saying that it feels like my heart is about to stop. You know, one thing led to another. Later that night, we went to OU Children's, University of Oklahoma Medical Center Children's, and they diagnosed me that night with form of supraventricular tachycardia, SVT, Wolff-Parkinson-White syndrome. I had an amazing medical staff at OU Children's that didn't miss a step, and you know, I'm glad that I've overcome that with the support of my family and the medical field. From my parents having to take CPR classes, me wearing my Holter monitor in school, and it really just messing up my fashion. All my symptoms that I previously had leading up to that are gone. And now I tell this story as it's a uniqueness, a part of me, a part of a driver. I'm a driver with a unique story to tell. From a young age, me and my mother would attend many of the American Heart walks. My mom being in the medical field at Norman Regional in Norman, had a really close tie in American Heart Association from a very, very, very young age, and so very thankful for American Heart. Little did I know I would have such an interesting experience that would tie so closely and be so great in telling my own story to support heart health.
My diagnosis put me at risk for a sudden cardiac event, and knowing that those that spent the most time with me were prepared and knew CPR was comforting in a difficult time. Learning hands-only CPR is as easy as visiting cpr.heart.org. There you will find instructions and additional resources regarding hands-only CPR. You could save a life.